Tell me there's somebody. Tell me there's somebody. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? We back at it. And again, you already know the Alien Hour. The hour. It's going to be like a movie night tonight because I was going to go through the Twitter first. Then I was going to go through the Reddit. But there is really too much on the Reddit going on. So, but there's some stuff going on the YouTube. I'm on my X. Formerly, I just call it Twitter or X, Twitter, X. But there's some stuff going on YouTube too. So I think the best way to start off today is let's get into some credo matois. Credo matois. Right? Right? Right, guys? Am I right? Let's do it. If you're new here, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow. Thank you to all my new followers. Thank you to all my new viewers. Y'all keep me motivated. I'm just the messenger. Let's get it, y'all. Why is this not?
One, and out of the sky, one day came terrible objects.
It's terrible objects. Damn. Oh, fix the chair right there. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah.
They were like gigantic bows, and people had, however, great mental power. They told our people that they were gods. Some told our people that this earth had produced them generations ago. King Umbaba, the terrible lord of the reptile people, said,
Yo, Credo was on something, bro. Credo knew what he was talking about, bro. I don't care what nobody says. Somebody had made a comment in my thing saying, talking about this man was crazy. Yeah, he was crazy with knowledge, crazy with facts. What you talking about? But he knew. Oh, man, I went too far back.
Some told our people that this earth had produced them generations ago. King Umbaba, the terrible lord of the reptile people, said, look what generations ago. King Umbaba, the terrible lord of the reptile people, said, look what you done.
Wait, did you hear what he said? Did he just say King Umbaba? As in the same Umbaba from the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Anunnaki? You mean the same ancient reptilian figurines that are found all over Mesopotamia? No, it's probably a coincidence, right? Well, wait till you hear the rest. I've always thought that the story of the Epic of Gilgamesh, as it was being told in the multiple different interpretations from mainstream scholars, did not add up. I was missing something. But when one of the last remaining African mysticists, Initiate, told the story, then it all made sense. The acclaimed author Dresden James...
Okay.
Searching the history.
There was... This is the story on the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. This is the story, a story you find throughout Africa. There was once a time, no desert at that time.
Like one big swamp, watering swamp.
Here, Credo tells us that humans at the time lived in an environment where trees were so tall that they could not see the sky, and that there was no desert. There is a land that we know of that used to be a dense rainforest, and that turned into a desert.
Okay, hold on. I think I'm just gonna play this guy. I ain't gonna lie. I know I have it somewhere. Yeah. Somewhere, because I don't want to hear buddy voice, respectfully. I'm not gonna lie, especially when it comes to Credo. I want to hear Credo voice, respectfully. I know that's kind of crazy, right? But yeah, man, I gotta see. Ooh, so this one is. That one says 32. Hold on, no, 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 no. Which one is that? Size. Damn, what the hell I do with that? Ancient books, reptilian, cave, and download. No. Phrase, Agartha, Well Scott, just saying. Where is it at? Oh, I ain't go that far. No, I think this is it. Yeah, I think this is it right here. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's damn my old stream shit. Where? Ha 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 ha. No. Where did I do it? Might be over here in the gallery, which it's not. Mm-mm. I don't know right here. Users, there. It's probably in here. Oh, okay, okay. I think we're getting closer. No, no, we're getting closer. I know we're getting closer. Sword. No, not DNA. Video playback. No. Where is it? That's not getting nowhere to be damn. Fuck. I don't want to listen to. I just gotta be careful because some folks channels be on that bullshit. Well, that's one, but I want to see. This is how many subscribers there. 2.5, man. Come on, let me go to your shit.
Had, however, great mental power over the many decades.
Yeah, another. Oh, let's watch this one.
I think that God could be the source from which all living things come. It is the source of all order and logic in creation.
Exactly.
When one looks at a tree, for example, one can see the art, the artistry and the logic behind each leaf, each branch, and each layer of bark upon the tree. A tree is a highly advanced sort of living machine. And that living machine could only have been created by something that was just as alive and just as wonderful. That is God, I think. When man discovered God, he discovered a shapeless, featureless, endless entity with which he could not cope. And so, in order to handle the mystery of God, man reduced that mystery to a shape that he could recognize and therefore understand. Man reduced God to a human-like family, a family of God the Father.
So what they say God is the image of man. So I think they take that and they use that and they be like, well, God looks like me, which in all actuality, certain extent, he made you out of him. His image is way deeper, way deeper.
Known by my people, the Zulus, as Unkulunkulu, which means the greatest of the great ones.
The greatest of the great ones. Clip that.
And God, the Great Mother, known by the Zulus as Nomcubulwana, which means the plower of the many fields, the lady of many plowshares. And God the Son, known by the Zulus as Umvelingangi, which means the firstborn of the Almighty. This stone here is engraved with the 10 great laws of the Almighty. And this serpent symbolizes one of the most important pillars of the traditional black religion, that is a belief in reincarnation, that which lives now shall travel along the road of life, shall die only to resume the journey of life in another shape. This is the symbolism of the double spiral serpent. It's a symbolism of rebirth. Also,
You dropping gems, message.
It is a symbolism.
But like I said, I feel reincarnation is a trap, that keeps us on this planet until, people say until you meet your job, but what if it's just a trap, reincarnated because they trap you here so you won't reach a higher vibration after you move on to the next level of life. That's just my opinion.
Of the secret road that, according to ancient tradition, was taken by people between this star system of ours, the solar system, and other solar systems, because we are told there was a secret spiral road which you could travel from this earth of ours to other planets.
I feel like he's talking about the Stargate right here.
But when man became aggressive and sinful, the gods closed the path of the many returns. As
Of course, they say, you know what? No, y'all like some bad little kids. Gotta take this shit away from y'all. Mm-mm.
it was called. We are shown another spiral, but this time this spiral represents not the secret pathway between the stars, but the hidden force which lies under the earth, which can be harnessed by a Sanusi for the healing of people.
Clip that. I like that video. See what other videos he got on here. I want to watch another Creed. I'm not gonna lie. Creed Mutwa. Mm-hmm. Hudson. Okay. Are you guys willing to do anything to be into a higher power? You know how they be like, if you want it that bad, you'll do anything. How bad do you want it? That's the question.
And
Why? Why'd you get fined? You gave the reptile lady a bed. The pretty ebony bed. Man, she sounds sexy as hell, but you gave her a bed. Why would they fine you?
because I had refused a sacred gift.
Oh. He was supposed to sleep with Shad. He refused. He want to sleep with the reptilian.
I had been supposed to do something very amazing to this lady to show that I was one of the people.
He did not want to sleep with the reptilian ebony lady. I'm not gonna lie. What would y'all do? A fine, dark-skinned ebony, beautiful queen with the mouth of a reptilian. Are you cracking? Nah, be real. Are you cracking? Let me know. Let me know. I can put my phone. On the surface, right? Because everybody goes straight to reptilians. Me personally, I don't like no fucking reptilians. I don't even like if you got reptilians as a fucking pet. My aunt has snakes and shit. I ain't fuck with her neither. Because why you got reptilians and shit? I know. We go back, reptilians in our DNA if you go back thousands of years. But I'm standing for it now. You get what I'm saying? But it is what it is. They are in our DNA from millions of years ago. But we moved on from that. Like, straight Anunnaki over here. The Venus Nibiru. Big dog. You feel what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, there's other forces. Many other forces. Many other forces. But for me, I know reptilians, Astro Command, and definitely some Greys with the bullshit, but the Greys working with the reptilians. So like, if it's like got a trifecta going on that's running some shit. Then some malevolent human beings as well. You know, interdimensional beings. Yeah, interdimensional intelligence. You have the interdimensional intelligence. They out here too. You heard what he said? He was calling with his mind. We was doing telepathy back then, and see how he was hunting the food. I don't think they'll peep how he explained how Buddy was hunting the food. He didn't go and get it. No, he just called it with his mind. Let's go back to it again.
And people had, however, great mental power. A man would go into the bush and using the power of his mind actually call out an animal.
You see how hunting was back in the day? We just made it so much harder when they restrict us from our powers, or we just dumb down. Sound like more we just dumbed down before they restrict us. It was already dumbed down, which made it easier for them to restrict us.
The cheetah
when they brought language according to him, that's when everything messed up. When they brought different sexes according to him, that's when everything messed up. My opinion, when they brought their language and had folks opening their mouths, because so the story he talking about is sort of like the other side of like the Anunnaki arriving to the Earth or Tiamat at the time, and I don't want to sit here and say Kratos worship the Nomos or reptilian, but yeah, sound like it. I still fucks with him. He's real. You feel what I'm saying? He's just speaking from his story on that part. But yeah, cause I see this reptilian back here. I see you, boy. I like, well, that's fire right here. What else he have? Okay. 60 up 24K. Good job, Hudson. What else do I have? What I see Betty. Let's go to Twitter. Twitter. I mean X. I just broke up with my ex like a coup. I just broke up with the flu. I the ex like a swoop. I just broke up with the loop. Got the ble like a flu. I just broke up with my hoop. Got her ex on the coup. What's up with X, man? What's up with X, man? Where should we start out? A young man in Brazil. What is this guy? Mm. Oh, what the heck is this guy? You see that? Oh nah. Oh nah. Oh nah. Okay, my boy running from the grave type shit. Going crazy. That's a little different. Congresswoman is caught on camera being mind controlled by a human hybrid handler.
Some administrative matters first. I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employees. Just have some administrative matters first. I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow, who you...
Wait, what? I know damn well.
I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with page 55 from the committee's interview which took place on July 17, 2023. In that,
Get the fuck out of here. Get the
which
fuck out
took
of here,
place
boy.
on July 17,
Like, get out of here,
2023.
boy.
In that, we're to leave this interview and we're to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden.
No. Bro, she really like
We're to leave this interview and we're to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Would they be representing what you said, correct? Answer by Ms. Demlow. They would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. They would be misrepresenting what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that.
Look at the comment. LL Slater was nah, oh, shit. Boy, I'm crazy, boy. That's clip that. What the hell? Oh, but real footage of car disappearing during police chase. I'll say that for the last one. Look at a legal video from Area 51 of a human being progressively evolved from futuristic talk for his life. I can't remember this one. Let's watch it. Ah!
Okay, state line of origin. Okay, yesterday you told us you traveled, and I quote, thousands of light years to get here. Okay, we're recording. State line of origin. Okay, yesterday you told us you traveled, and I quote, thousands of light years to get here. Gosh. Tell us the truth, or the word, or another reason.
Tell us the truth, you gray reptilian bastard. Clip that.
So I take it aliens took over our future, right? So you're human.
We've seen this before. Yeah, we've seen this before. Shocking former World Bank's second species.
Before we went to air, we were discussing.
Wait. Let's say what we say. Shocking. Former World Banker says second species controls Earth. Meet Karen Hughes, whose bio says she worked as an attorney at the World Bank from 1987 to 2007. From 1986 to 2007. Hughes says that the U.S. gold reserve had been stolen by the Jesuits under the direction of a person she calls the Black Pope. And the U.S. gold now resides in the Vatican. Oh, and she says that the Black Pope is not a human, but is what she calls a second species? Clip that.
The global corruption, the global syndicate, the bankers. Who are these people? Who are the individuals? Who are the puppet masters pulling the strings of the bankers?
Well,
because you had mentioned the Jesuits in a previous interview, so I'm intrigued as to know where's the connection to the Jesuit order, as well as into the Vatican and beyond. There's many secret societies in the world. Many people speak of the Illuminati and the Masonic orders, the Order of the Garter. Many of these super elite organizations that operate in secrecy. So I know I've named a few already, but if you could help us elaborate on these points, who are the people pulling the strings?
well, do you remember when there were ghettos and you had something called a Judenrat that were the ones that would draw up the lists? There were ghettos and you had...
Did I hear that right?
Pulling the strings.
Well, do you remember when there were ghettos and you had something called a Judenrat that were the ones that would draw up the lists?
Nah, you two. Jedi.
Of the Jews that were going to get exported the next day. Do you remember how that system works?
Well, it was a little before my time, but history would dictate what happened in those ghettos. So elaborate.
These were traitors to their people who were helping because they thought they were going to save themselves. That's maybe why they did that, but it doesn't matter what their motives were. They were doing the work against their people. Now, think of this as an elaboration on a larger scale, and what we're dealing with actually is humanity and the elite, the secret societies, the Vatican. They're traitors to humanity because
That Vatican's something serious. We just read, allegedly, the gold is being kept at the Vatican. That's where all the gold is at Vatican. What if the Vatican is a true? What if the you know how we have the White House? That's the White House of America. What if the Vatican is the White House of the world? The Vatican is the White House of this planet.
one at the very core that's pulling the strings is a different species. They're not the human race. They're called Homo capensis. They have been on.
What you say?
That's pulling the strings is a different species. Dealing with actually is humanity and the elite, the secret societies, the Vatican. They're traitors to humanity because the one at the very core that's pulling the strings is a different species. They're not the human race. They're called Homo capensis.
Homo capensis? A rabbit hole? Let's see. Homo. Hold on. Oh no, I want to play that one too. Hold on, y'all. I know. I'm looking at Homo capensis. We'll watch that. Right, either today or tomorrow. Let's finish this though.
Very core that's pulling the strings is a different species. They're not the human race. They're called Homo capensis. They have been on Earth together with humanity for before this ice age. And the reason I know about this is because I was trying to help out a movie producer who couldn't get his movie. It was called The Banksters Made Off with America, Edmund Drile. And he introduced me to his network of whistleblowers. One of the people in that network is a neurologist who went to Yale Medical School and was retired. And he was trying to find out what was at the very core of all of this corruption. And
so you mentioned this species, an additional species of humans, or
no, they're not humans. They are so distinct from humans that if they were to mate with humans, their offspring would not be fertile.
Holy shit, boy. Well, you see the seriousness in his face, bro? Don't play with her. She knows what she's talking about. Clip that. Well, don't play with her, man. Don't play.
Speaking of the biblical Nephilim is an entity that people have discussed and tried to understand.
Well, she's speaking past biblical, bro. She's speaking past what you can't even comprehend right now. She's speaking past what you was raised to, boy.
For millennia, and that is the race of offspring
offspring
of humans and the fallen angels from.
No, these are not angels. These are not spiritual.
Well, the Nephilim themselves.
You hear the confidence in the word. These are not fucking angels. These are not spiritual. Don't get her words twisted, boy.
were the offspring of the fallen angels and humanity. Is this the same
They
species?
are not fallen angels.
You heard what she said, bro? God dang, she know what she talking about?
They are critters. People who I am getting emails from saw them the day before. They look just like human beings, except they have these big skulls. And that is why in the Vatican, you see these crazy meters, is what they're called. And that's why the very first Jew, Moses, wore one of those things, because he was one of those Homo capensis as well. We have DNA samples of them. And the reason we know this is because it was in the papyri of one of the pyramids. I found this out from from the internet. But what is really remarkable, actually, is that we have had so much evidence, and we haven't had any studies into it. If you look at the archaeology, there is a civilization off the coast, because the sea level has risen by 400 meters. But what do we know about this ancient pre-Ice Age civilization? We do have a map that's left over from there, because it shows the coastline of Antarctica before the ice froze on it. And it's following that landmass perfectly. So what we have is evidence. There's also evidence in South Africa. There are a lot of these skulls that you find. And what
You're speaking of the elongated skulls that have been found in graves, and even some of the skeletons.
You got graves, you got the cone heads. So you got even Dunakis, man. Yo, and shit get deep. It's a whole bunch of species. You probably just seen one of them, don't know which one exactly. But like, yeah. If I had to choose, Vatican, I might go with cone heads. But I don't know. I gotta do more research.
Found with these are in fact giant people.
That is something different. No, I'm not talking about that.
She's not talking about Gilgamesh, my boy. I think she would have said that.
I'm talking about a large skull.
The elongated skull, the elongated cranium.
Some are in Peru, some are elongated. But in other places, they're just round like pumpkins. And the individuals that were seen in Egypt, I've seen drawings of what their skulls looked like. It was just massive, much larger than human being skulls. And also, in a human skull, there's something they
might be talking about Dunaki, the homies.
Called the parietal, where it's in 3 different segments. This critter doesn't have those separations. It's just
so you're saying that this specific species of individuals is occupying the Vatican and functioning through the Jesuit order?
Yes, but they're also working in the banks in Portugal, because one of the people who saw this, in Saturday Night Live, there was a broadcast of something called the cone heads. So that's a slang word for them. Although my mother refers to them as the boneheads. But they're alive and running around and doing all kinds of mischief.
Some people might find the information that you're presenting right now to be completely... Some people might say it's completely crazy. What do you say to those people who are watching this right now going, I don't believe a word of it?
I would say you need to read the articles that Ed Spencer has sent me. You need to look at the skulls in the museums. You need to read the DNA studies. And you need also to think about what kind of motive the human beings might have for being traitors to their species.
Do your homework. And do your homework.
Why would they do this? Why would we have a banking system where all the money ends up going to the Vatican and people run around starving? Why would we have, for example, if you look at what the actual teachings of Jesus Christ were, as opposed to when you had translations and various things happened and got put in there. And as some of the whistleblowers have been discussing this, information, articles on Homo capensis.
You see that person walking in the background, look creepy.
Have disappeared from the internet. They
what?
Articles on Homo capensis have disappeared. And as some of the whistleblowers have been discussing this, information, articles on Homo capensis have disappeared from the internet. They've been taken down. And other critics who, I don't know why they're getting all the coverage they are, and they've been getting features in Wikipedia. Let me talk a little bit about Wikipedia.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
I had an experience with Wikipedia because I got involved in trying to edit the biography on Robert Zellick, who was the World Bank president. And I was trying to explain to people that the United States had lost the gentleman's agreement, which you could demonstrate. You could see. I couldn't get that into Wikipedia. They were clearly being controlled by this group that that is controlling all the capital markets.
So do
Ooh.
you
banks.
do you think that these same people were preventing your Wikipedia edits?
Yes, and what I'm trying to say is that this person who was attacking the information on Homo capensis had a big, long article featuring her on Wikipedia. So I know who Wikipedia is. I know whose interests Wikipedia serves. And when somebody who's just starting out gets a big write-up, I know what that really means.
So what does it mean?
It means that there is manipulation of information. It means that people are given exposure and credentials that they haven't earned. You know, some people have said, I obviously have to be a disinformation expert because I'm getting press coverage. I can show you all of the effort that I took to get exposure and for people to vet my story. And that's there. I'm simply getting exposure.
What do you say to those people who would call you a disinformation agent who has been putting out information to confuse people or to misdirect people? People that might even leave comments in the video section below and say, she's actually a World Bank agent provocateur. How do you address that question?
What I say is that if you look at what it is, don't look at me, don't criticize me, look at what I'm saying, see if I have anything to back it up, if I have documentation.
Don't pay attention to me, pay attention to the message. Heard that?
For it. But one of the other criticisms I get is that I couldn't be alive. If I were for real, I wouldn't have made it this far.
Well,
And the answer that I have to that is I say, I have always been working in a team of whistleblowers. If something happened to me, it was just going to blow up what I was trying to uncover, because I was talking about a cover-up of corruption. I didn't have a document, any one document I needed to reveal. I was pointing to a whole system of cover-up. I was pointing to the fact that the media was not telling the story the way it deserved to be told. They had an agenda. They had a hidden, secret agenda. As I've said, the whistleblowers are like Toto in The Wizard of Oz, pulling the curtain back. And people are now seeing the wizard, which is this corrupt group. And they're also seeing that the mainstream media is projecting onto a screen their propaganda, which is not reality. What you get in the mainstream media has a hidden secret agenda. It wouldn't be there if people whose interests are behind that cabal is what they're called.
So on the internet now, anyone can publish any documents. Anyone can publish any website to establish a historical record. How do we know the information that you've been receiving is actually authentic? I mean, the birth certificate of the President of the United States has been in question for so many years. Even when it was released, the most recent official one was released, they found multiple layers in the birth certificate. So what's to say that information that you've been receiving hasn't been doctored by another agency or another entity to provide you with information that could misdirect? Because if they see perhaps that you're out there speaking these things, that people are going to believe you because of what you say, but they may be feeding you wrong information. Is there any possibility?
I think he's trying to spin it. He's trying to spin it to like save her grace or save her face, but I think he really thinks she's crazy. He's not open-minded enough. Well, he has a corporate job, you know, he's an interviewer. He's right, just asking her tough questions. But, you know, just coming off, it sounds like you don't believe her at all.
That could be true.
Well, as for the storyline that I have, I can give a very detailed chronology showing at any given stage what I was revealing, who I was revealing it to. It's very compelling. That's not something that can be doctored. That is absolutely, it's just, it's there for anybody to read. And so that's, if anybody is saying, am I for real? Yeah, I'm for real. Now, am I doing a good enough job on the information that I'm getting from other whistleblowers? Sometimes I'm doing a lousy job. So I got snookered on a story about a planet that was Nibiru. I got really snookered. And what was really interesting there, I learned a lot, was I
Now I think she lying. Bitch, don't watch your mouth.
tried to correct the information. And every time I corrected the information, it was taken down from the internet. So I learned that you have to be really a little careful about information and vetting it.
Well, certainly practicing discernment in everything we do is something that must be practiced, especially when we're handed documentation that can make certain claims, and of course vetting the documents themselves. So back to the topic at hand, and the global cabal of puppet masters who are pulling the strings of the international elite and the banksters. I had mentioned the Illuminati and the Masons, and I mentioned the Order of the Garter and these super secret organizations. But you take it all back to the Vatican. You take it all right back to those this speech.
The Vatican is the White House of this planet. I don't care. Convince me wrong. The Vatican is the White House of this planet. Clip that.
Species of people. If I could provide a little bit of historical perspective for a moment, when the Illuminati was supposedly disbanded, some people believe that it just didn't disappear. It went underground, and it simply spread itself out. Would you say that the same is happening with this species of I would say, you say they're not human, but for lack of better words, I'll say they're a species of humans. Do you think that these individuals have peppered themselves through some of these organizations as well?
What I know is,
or is it isolated simply to the Vatican?
What I know is that when you get to be a 33rd degree Mason and the Black Pope, and also the archaeologists, they all know that Moses was Akhenaten. And if you know that, then you know that Akhenaten had this huge skull and his...
Akhenaten, let's see.
And if you know that, then you know that Akhenaten had this huge...
Oh, you've not. Akhenaten. Watch this one later. Watch that one later.
Akhenaten had this huge skull, and his daughters had this huge skull. So I'm going to presume that they probably also... Moses was Akhenaten. What I know is that when you get to be a...
This is her claim, by the way.
33rd degree Mason and the Black Pope, and also the archaeologists, they all know that Moses was Akhenaten. And if you know that, then you know that Akhenaten had this huge skull, and his daughters had this huge skull. So I'm going to presume that they probably also know that there are individuals, and they're not humans. They do not have the same kind of DNA that we do. And I can tell you what I know about them. They're very mathematical. Their average intelligence is about 150, and they do not have
Well, they're smart, boy.
creativity. They're not emotional. And the other thing is that in the process of working with all of these,
Imagine being so smart but don't have no creativity. Bummer.
whistleblowers, I've learned a lot about the strengths of Homo sapiens because we're not giving each other salaries, we're not giving each other honors, we're not giving each other anything other than additional hard work. But we also know who we're working for. We're working for all of humanity.
So I have to ask this question because some of the viewers who are watching right now are going, they're talking about another species with an elongated skull. You mentioned the high intelligence, the lack of creativity. And it's going to be hard for people to grasp that reality. And of course, everyone has to do their own homework to discover these things.
Yes, always do your own homework. You feel what I'm saying? Because this is the internet. It's the opinionet. That's what we call it. It ain't the internet, it's the opinionet. I come up here with my opinion. You believe me, you believe me. Always do your own research.
But given your whistleblower status with the World Bank, do you think that by promoting or discussing these types of theories hurts your credibility and all in the minds of some of the people who may have first heard of you through the whistleblower status at the World Bank?
I'll tell you what, I've gotten a fair amount of feedback like that. And I'll tell you what I say to these people. I say that it has been an incredible experience to have made it this far. And the number one thing that I've learned in that process is to trust my own intuition, because that has really
Always trust your intuition, guys. Always trust it.
served me very well. And my intuition is telling me that this is the time to tell people this.
Well, Karen, thanks for...
Respect to Karen, man. What's her name? Karen Hughes. Let's look her up real quick. Karen Hughes. Let's see.
We have to rethink religion and we have to rethink aliens. I didn't believe in UFOs. Once I started to look at the data, we have to rethink religion and we have to rethink aliens. I didn't believe in UFOs. Once I started to look at the data, I started to meet people who were part of a government program that we now know about.
But guess what? There's more.
I've been to the Vatican archives. I started to see the similarities.
The Vatican is the White House of this planet. The Vatican is the White House of this planet.
Diana Walsh Pasulka, professor of religious studies, examines the connection between ancient religions and modern-day UFO experiences, where thousands of years of religious texts actually describing alien encounters.
I went to Catholic archives and I looked at reports of souls from purgatory. This got me interested in looking at alien abduction and modern-day reports of UFOs.
People who are now experiencing things that might sound a lot like the descriptions in many of these religious texts.
There is something within the human body that responds to the practice of prayer. It actually changes the brain. Within the Catholic tradition, a very sophisticated history and theology of non-human intelligence.
Is the Vatican withholding information?
There are probably a lot of things out there that we're going to be surprised by. We have to...
God damn. Clip that. Alright, y'all. This is the Alien Hour. Like always.